Hello, everybody. It's Marcy from wavesofcommunication.com coming live on YouTube today with another educational video for you. All the parents out there of Late Talking Kids, welcome. If you're joining me for the first time, and welcome back to all of my followers. Lots and lots of new people following me here on YouTube and all across social media. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about the big three tools that late talkers use to manipulate their parents. And before I get to those things, I have some more exciting news to share with you about the whole Waves of Communication platform. So the first thing is, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you will notice that they are now no longer monetized. Yep, I turned off the ads because, first of all, they're annoying. Second of all, it doesn't really pay that much on my platform, and it doesn't make sense to make this exposure to my information less accessible to people, because it's my mission to share this information with as many people as possible. So I always encourage parents, if you see a video that you like and you get some strategies from it, share it with your friends. So that's why I really want to do that, and that's why I demonetized my videos. The other thing that I want to share with you is a new way to interact with me and other people on my team and other professionals and even other parents, okay? And this is a free way to interact with me. Now, I've been, when I started actually my social media over on Facebook, and with all the recent changes in social media and choices people are making, I too am kind of diverging away from Facebook. Not completely, I'm still over there. I have a group and all of that stuff, but I'm not going to be doing videos on Facebook anymore. I'm keeping all my videos right here on YouTube. And the other thing that I'm doing that is super exciting, I'm going to share with you here, is I'm on a new platform, and it's called MeWe. And this platform is, I have a group over there. It's called Parents Are the Best Language Facilitators Group. You can connect with me personally on the link that I've got here on the screen. And in the description of this video, I have the link for you to come right over and join that Parents Are the Best Language Facilitators Group. You can join it. You can ask me specific questions. You can learn from other parents. You can share your success stories. The MeWe platform is very similar in operation to Facebook, but there are no ads. That's also great about it. And that's why I talked about it on this video when I talked about demonetizing, because again, my mission is to get this information to everybody. So without further ado, let's get into today's topic. And we are going to be talking about the big three. And what I'm talking about is the big three tools that kids use to manipulate parents, to bend or break the rules in your house, to do things like get more snackies, stay up later, go out when they want to go out, eat foods they don't want to eat, have more tablet time, all of these things that you're trying to create rules around in your house. Kids will want to break those rules by using these three things. Number one, using the toilet properly. Properly meaning all the poo and all the pee goes in the potty, right? It's not anywhere else in your house. And if you're working on toilet training, kids will revert, right? Even though you know they can do it, they will revert back to pooing in diapers or not telling you and things like that. They will revert in their skills. That is one tool kids will use. Another one, they will manipulate bedtime and sleeping arrangements. And they will push it later. They will not want to go to bed when you want them to go to bed, and they won't want to get up when you want them to get up. Those kinds of things that they will do on purpose, okay? These are on purpose things. These are skills these kids clearly can do, but they choose to use these, breaking the rules, these things, okay? And the third one is eating healthy foods independently. And there's sort of two rule breaking strategies in there. They don't want to eat the healthy foods that they want, and they don't want to eat independently, okay? So it looks like kids, again, using the bathroom in places they're not supposed to. It looks like them sneaking and trying to eat foods they know they're not supposed to, or manipulating people to give them foods they're not supposed to, right? They'll use that. And they also will use bedtime and sleeping arrangements. They will only insist on sleeping with you. They'll push their bedtimes. They'll whine and cry about these things. And they'll do that to get you to bribe them, basically, to do these things. And we're going to talk about more about whether, in fact, on this video, let me let you know what we're going to talk about. I'm going to answer 3 big questions about these big 3. Number 1 is, why do late talkers feel the need to control their parents? Okay, why? And why do they use these 3 tools? And number 3, what can parents do to regain control? So just like on every other video that I produce, there are going to be actionable strategies for you on this. And if you are finding that your child is using one of those big 3 on you, then we're going to find out why. Okay, so let's get into all of this, all right? The first answer to the question, which is why? Why do late talkers feel the need to control their parents? And the situation is, there's 4 reasons that I could come up with now. There could be other ones, but these main 4 are the most common that I see. Why would a child feel the need to control you? Number 1, they don't like it when you take things away from them. Children who are in any kind of ABA therapy probably will try to use the big 3 at one time, 1, 2, or 3 of the big 3. They might use all of them, depending on how much of this happens, because ABA is all about this. The child is using what they love, and then somebody takes it away from them, right? And then the other thing that they don't like, the reason that a child will turn it around and want to control and manipulate you, is that they don't think you respect their opinions and choices. They want to eat cookies, and you don't think that's a good idea. That's a difference of opinion, right? They don't think you respect them, and you're trying to stop them from doing what they want to do. The number 3 reason that late talkers feel the need to control parents with the big 3 is that they are looking for more guidance. If a child is without knowing what to do, if they don't understand the rules in their house, they need more guidance, they will manipulate you to get you to tell them where the boundaries are, because they'll push boundaries until you tell them. And that's why they will push control. Number 4, they feel you trying to control or limit their personal needs. So if a child needs to move, needs to run, needs to have a snack, needs to sleep, needs to watch video, needs to do whatever, if they feel like you are trying to stop them from doing what they need, and you don't even have to understand why they need it. Remember, they could need it because they're addicted to it. They could feel that need. Right? It's just like you try to tell someone who's a smoker to stop smoking, they're going to manipulate the environment so they can smoke because they feel the need to do that. Okay? And your child could be in that same situation where they feel a need to watch those videos, eat that cookie, go outside, whatever they're pushing for, they feel that need. And kids don't understand the difference between wants and need. Everything is the same, because think about it. The world ends for them if the last cookie is gone. When you understand there's a lot worse things in the world, right? But in that moment for your child, the fact that they can't have that other cookie is the end of the world. Because they are thinking the moment, and they're not worried about next week you're going to have more cookies unless they understand that. And that's what we're going to get into the next question, right? The next question that we have is, why do they use these 3 tools? Okay, here we go. Why do late talkers use these big 3? Number 1 reason they use them is because parents need kids to be good at and follow rules. And they need them to be good at all these 3. They need to follow the rules about these big 3 because that makes their life easier, okay? Now, when you look at this little guy, he is sitting on the potty, but he is clearly not at all thinking about the bathroom situation. He is focused on finding the right video, whatever he's trying to find. He's just sitting there. He's using technology on the potty in the similar way that most adults use technology on the potty. They are not conscious thinking about the pooing, peeing situation. They are concerned about who sent them an email or what's going on or things like that, right? Now, parents, kids are going to use this situation because if they don't want to go potty, and you need them to go potty, you might give them a tablet to go sit on the potty, right? Because if they go and sit there and the pee goes in the potty, it doesn't matter if they're thinking about it or not. It's getting where you want it to get. It makes it easier for you to manipulate them by sticking them on the potty and giving them a tablet, right? But what you don't understand is you're training the child back to manipulate you, because each one of these big three tools, right, triggers a big emotional reaction in parents. If your kiddo is going potty anywhere besides in this potty, you're going to have an emotional reaction to that, okay? If your kid's up all night because they're sleeping in the wrong times, or they're, watching these videos in their bed all night and things like that, right? It's going to trigger an emotional reaction in you because you're going to have an exhausted kid that you've got to deal with. So you know that your kiddo has to get sleep, right? And you know they have to eat. Otherwise, they're not going to have the nutrition they need, and they're going to do it. They're going to manipulate their stuff. And as long as you use those tools to manipulate kids to do those things, they will turn it around and use them to manipulate you, because these areas have more value for negotiating, bending the rules. And they're like, great, I'm going to use the things that I want. And they also, these areas, right, the potty and the feeding and the bedtime, they trigger a faster response. So as soon as your child does the potty dance, right, and they need to go, you know they need to go because you see them doing the thing, holding themselves or whatever, you are going to stop doing what you're doing to run to go to them, to stop them from peeing where they are, to get the pee where you want it to be, right? I've also this problem with parents in my program who co-sleep with their kids, right? And they don't want them to pee in the bed. So they perpetuate and they put diapers on their kids, right? I've got another family that I'm working with whose kiddo won't give up the bottle, right? Won't give it up because at night won't sleep without a bottle, or won't sleep without a tablet, or won't eat without a tablet, right? They won't do these things you got to do without a bribe. And it's because you taught them that the bribe goes with the thing. And then somehow at some point you changed the rules and you didn't want them to have the tablet 24/7 anymore. You don't want your child to turn into you, who sits on the potty for hours and hours scrolling and not concentrating on the potty, but just spending time there because you're there. Or maybe you're there because there's nobody around. But that's a whole different reason you spend time in the potty, right? That's not why you send your kid to the bathroom. You send them there to do their business, right? You want them to sit down and eat food with you to get their nutrition. You want them to sleep in their bed at the right time so that they have enough energy to learn and do and all the other things in your life, and they're not a cranky pants, right? All these things are important for you to have. And so you may have found yourself manipulating your kid to do those things for you. And if you're finding that it's out of your control, that's what's happened. Your child has said, oh, this is a valuable tool I can use. And they turn it around and push your buttons. All right. Let's get to the next question I'm going to ask about. So now we know why kids do this. Let's learn what is next. And what is next is, what can parents do to regain control? That's what everybody wants to know. What can parents do to regain control over the big three? And here's the first thing that you can do, right? Now, when you look at this video, you can see that this kiddo is clearly upset, okay? Clearly upset. And this is a stop, drop, and roll situation, because kids are breaking rules because they're feeling a certain way. So we have to deal with those feelings, okay? And the way that a parent overcomes this is, number one, you review your rules frequently and clearly establish boundaries, as well as consistent consequences. Consistent consequences. That's what I was trying to say. And the reason that your consequences have to be consistent, and they're not going to make your child happy, they're going to make them cry, right? Because they don't want to stop going outside or eating their cookie or watching their video or doing whatever. But you are establishing these boundaries. And so number 2 is the most important thing. And that's what this mom is doing right here, is just respecting and empathize with your child's drama and opinions. I know, tell them, I know you love videos. I know you're hooked on them. And we got to work on that. So we got to find other ways to be happy. And that's what you do, is the next thing, you remind your child of acceptable ways that they can meet their needs. Because video isn't mandatory, right? Just like smoking isn't mandatory for a smoker, there's other ways that you can give those addictions up when you find other ways to meet your needs. And number 4, you respond to your child's communication quickly and with your full attention. Now, remember, we're talking about late talkers here. So their communication may not be very clear, right? It could be a combination of part words, whines, cries. And if they're manipulating you, they're sneaky manipulation, that climbing and sneaking to get things. This is all communication behavior, right? And when you see it, when you see your child clearly manipulating you, clearly sneaking because you know they've broken the rule because you've talked about the rule. And this is what the rule is. And the very minute your child breaks the rule and tries to say, yeah, I'm just going in the bathroom with the tablet, because I have a mom who did that. Her late talker is so smart. He started going to the bathroom more frequently just to be able to get the tablet, because his mom said, nope, the only time you get it is potty time and that's it. And he suddenly, potty time came every 15 minutes for an hour, right? Because he's using that big 3 to manipulate. And then what happened was she said, no more tablet at all, right? Went cold turkey on it. And then what happened was he started to hold himself and wouldn't go at all. And then he's like, oh, well, if I can't have a tablet at all, then I'm never going to the bathroom. And then he started to get a belly ache and hold himself and not do that. And then mom got really worried, right? This is the extent that kids will go. Their own physical harm, their own physical discomfort to manipulate you around this thing. Because now the mom's like, she comes back to the meeting and says, oh no, here's my kiddo who now he won't go to the bathroom and he's going to get a bellyache and he's going to get whatever and he's going to get whatever. And what I told that mom was to go back to the same thing. You have to reinforce your rules and you have to have the consequences. And what the consequences are of not going to the bathroom is having a tummy ache. And so what I told her to do is to remind her child of not the consequences of not doing what she wanted, but the consequences of doing it the right way. So what I had her do was, her and her husband talked all about how wonderful it feels in your belly to go have the relief of going to the bathroom. So what did they do? Every time they went, wow, they said it out loud, I really have to go. Ooh, I have a lot of pee-pee in me. I'm going to the bathroom. And they went, and oh, phew, my stomach feels good. That feels great. Now I can focus on my thing, right? And if you are in the room and you at all are having to go, and someone in the room says that, guess what it triggers in your head? Ooh, I gotta go. This is a good idea. I want to feel good like she does. So I'm going to go to the bathroom even without a tablet. Why? Not because I want a tablet, but because my tummy wants to feel better for being empty. That's it. That's why the consequences that we're talking about here, because it's not about the negative consequences. The empathy is about your child not getting what they want. I'm sorry you can't get what you want because we don't have any more cookies and the rules say you only get 2 cookies a day and tomorrow you can have another cookie. Remember, you're talking about all the boundaries. What the rules are. The rules are we get tablet time every day after lunch for an hour. You can play whatever games you want, but that's your tablet time. And then we put it on the charger and we wait till tomorrow. And you remind the rules. And, there's consequences. When we put the tablet away, then we can go bake a cake together or go play together or go do this together. That's the consequences of not doing that thing that you want your kid to stop doing. What's the consequences of the positive action you want your child to take? And that's what gets them focused more on the positive action and not, when do I get it again? When do I get it again? When do I get it again? When is it coming? Because that's when you pull it away and you take it away forever. And it's not about the rules and helping your child overcome the It is what it is. These are the rules. I have to be happy in the rules. And I'll tell you what, most kids are happy in the rules. Remember, they don't all feel oppressed. They just don't understand what the rules are, because one day you give them an hour of tablet time and the next day you give them 2 hours because you were using it to bribe something that came up. And it was unexpected extra tablet time. And your child's like, ooh, unexpected extra tablet time is something within my grasp. All I have to do is stop eating, or stop going to the bathroom, or push the bedtime issue. And whine or cry or tantrum or refuse or do some kind of behavior that communicates their frustration with this whole situation, right? And they know how to push your buttons, right? Here's one more graphic I want to give you that has some really important things for you to realize about all of this and how to get it to stop. Number one, realize late talkers only need to manipulate when they don't think the people who are caring for them either understand, like, you don't know what I want, so I got to show you what I want, or you don't respect what I want, so I got to sneak around and get it behind your back. Okay, those are the only two reasons that kids will use these big three. And if you're getting more than one of these big three affecting in your house, that means that there's a lot of manipulation or lack of caring about that kiddo's clear, concise, overall communication. Maybe not so clear to everybody, but moms understand it, right? And then this is a big question you need to ask yourself, could your rule reinforcement be encouraging manipulation to trigger your emotions? Like I said, if you're like, you are either bribing to get your kids to do it, or you're oppressing. No tablet ever. No, you can't have it. You're bad. Tablet's bad. That's no, 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 not never, no. The kids hate hearing no, not never. And as soon as they start hearing it, they turn on their manipulation. Okay, she's clapping down the rules. How do I break them? But when you present your child with yes situations, real negotiation, like, okay, this is what the rules are. And you make the rules that are understandable. And that's the other clue that will help you. Is it possible to negotiate adjustments to your rules? Like, some parents will decide to do tablet time, 0 tablet time, go from 5 hours a day to cold turkey, nothing. And that's not going to work. It's not going to be fluid and easy for sure, because that's like telling the smoker to stop smoking. Okay, that child who's on a tablet, if your child is on a tablet more than 3 hours every day, 2 to 3 hours every day is all it takes to change a habit. That's why language facilitation only takes 2 to 3 hours a day of your time, but it takes 2 to 3 hours. And people don't realize how fast 2 to 3 hours adds up of tablet time. And whatever's on that tablet is what your child's paying attention to, instead of spoken language, learning the rules, thinking about it, whatever. And think about it. If you spend that much time in tech, pulling yourself out of the energy of looking at that device into being in conversation with your environment, that takes some time. It doesn't happen automatically, right? Listening, focus. This is all the stuff that we talk about is very, very important with language facilitation. That's why tablet time needs to be a minimum, because 2 to 3 hours every day should be spent with your child, engaging and talking to them about what they're doing. All right. So let's look one more time. Late talkers only need to manipulate when they don't think their caregivers understand or respect their needs. Okay. Could your rule enforcement be encouraging manipulation to trigger your emotions or push your buttons? Hello, like that. And then, is it possible to negotiate adjustments to the rules? And these adjustments don't have to be, against your values. I never want my kid to have a tablet and now they've got to have it. You have to adjust your rules based on your values too. So you get it that way and you understand. So Not Urbits, thank you for your comment. It says, thanks for giving us your time and wisdom, because sometimes as parents, we hit a block, and that's how it goes. Remember, you don't realize this happens. It doesn't always happen overnight either. These big three are processes developmental processes. Kids shift in their habits for eating, sleeping, and potty over time. And just like potty training didn't happen overnight, these manipulation things, they try them out bit by bit. Did it work this time? I'm going to try it again. And if it did work, they'll try it again. And you might be so distracted by your own emotional. Remember, there are 3 things that block language facilitation, not just physical issues, but if there is a physical issue, you've got a stomach ache, you don't feel good, you've got a headache, then you're not going to be paying as close attention to your child. It's impossible to give them 24 hours one-on-one. That's why it only requires 2 to 3 hours a day. But listen, if your life is super busy, working with a new baby, dealing with COVID, homeschooling, blah, 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 that 2 to 3 hours a day could be missing. And your kiddo is using this manipulation to communicate with you. My needs aren't being met. Somebody's not paying attention to me. Somebody's not getting my end of the stick. And remember, just because your child doesn't have words, that doesn't stop them from communicating. They're going to tell you what they want and need somehow. If it's banging on you, dragging you around, whatever, they're going to let you know what they need. And if you are not responding to them because maybe you're not able, it could be environmental or emotional blockages that make you not able to respond immediately right away. So you just have to do your best. You just have to do your best and promise that you're enough. But I did this video on purpose to remind you, because so many of the families that come in my program, when they come here, these are the problems that they tell me. It's one of these big 3 or more. Depending on how controlled the child is feeling. So, for example, kids that are in a lot of ABA, they get ABA at home and at school, many, many hours per week of ABA, where everything is do this, say this, do this, yes, yes, yes. And they hear a lot of no, no, you need a break. And they learn how to use these things they like as manipulation to get out of their work and stuff. If your child is in a lot of that ABA and they are manipulating you at home with these big 3, I promise you, they are using a version of these big 3 to manipulate the people in their environment at school. Or at school, the big 3 is sitting in one place, right? That's the number 4 that happens for school, because schools get freaked out if kids don't sit in one place to learn, especially ABA, right? And so all the other learning will go out the window to get a kid to sit still. And if a kid knows that, right, they will sit just long enough to get you doing whatever, and then they'll run again. Because they know as soon as they get up to run, the learning stops, the work stops. And they use that running behavior to manipulate you. Escaping the house is probably another one that we could talk about here, but it's all for the same reasons, right? Because escaping triggers a fear response in parents. And parents will respond to that fear with unconscious action, like bribing their kid or yelling at them or telling them to stop and deal with it, right? And if that happens over and over and over again as a habit, an unconscious habit you have because you're responding to your emotional or physical or environmental blockages, that's how these things creep in, okay? So the best advice I have for you is give yourself some grace. It's not your fault that these things happened. Use these strategies to get things back on track. That's all. Reestablish the rules. Do a lot of hugging it out and crying it out, because breaking rules and new establishing of rules, that triggers a lot of emotion in your kiddo and you. And the one thing that a mom can do for a kid and a kid can do for a mom is help you calm and regulate. When you hug, however your kid regulates. If you need to spend a lot of time swinging and just talking about how, just like I told you, I stopped turning ads on my videos because I know it makes people mad. And it's going to make them stop watching, because nobody wants to see an ad for whatever in the middle of you're trying to learn something. And kids don't want to see your drama or whatever when they're trying to focus on something, and you want to see theirs when you're trying to focus on something. And that's a disconnect that causes these manipulation behaviors. And that's all. So the best thing about this is you have the ability every single day, 24 hours a day, right now in the moment, to connect with your child. Just stop and give them a hug. And if they don't want to give a hug, just spend some time with them, you know? So let's see. Naderba says, my son is hyperlexic and I really try to facilitate the language and he's trying, but he has a very hard time understanding verbal language. Any tips to help him understand WH questions? Okay, so that's a great question. And also on this kind of manipulation situation, right? So I talk a lot on my channel about prompting and how WH questions put a kiddo in a position that they can't respond to, because late talkers who use single words, like hyperlexic kids, they understand a lot more than they can express. All late talkers do. And the things that a hyperlexic child is reading may not be functional for them as far as language. They could be memorizing words that they like, right? Just like a kid will memorize videos that they like, but they can't use those things as real language. They're just memorized bits that they use to entertain themselves. Excuse me, or maybe they use them to try to manipulate you, things like that, because they know you're looking for a specific response. They know the response you want, and they do something different anyway, right? So these WH, who, what, where, when, why kind of questions, what is it, all those sorts of things are simply for a hyperlexic child a behavior trigger. What do you want me to do? It's a test. Right? And so the best way to teach your child the language they need to be able to answer WH questions is through storytelling kinds of language that you put in their brain. Because remember, language facilitation is about parents putting in the data, in the information, programming the language you want to hear, not pulling it out, because everyone else in your child's world, friends, family, their siblings, everyone else is going to ask your child these WH questions, right? You don't have to ask them. Everyone else is going to. What your job is as the language facilitator is to put the answers to those questions in. So what I suggest you do is whenever you are tempted, because you're going to be tempted like everybody else is, to ask your child a question to pull it out, instead of asking the question, say the answer. And that way you're telling your child what you want them to do. Instead of guessing and having them, did you understand me telling you what to do, is basically what a lot of those questions are. So it looks like this. Oh, I see you are hungry. I have this to eat today, and that kind of thing. That's a statement. And the only WH questions that are okay to ask a child are questions you don't know the answer to, right? That's the rule about WH questions. If you know the answer, even if it is, what's the capital of Mississippi, right? If you're trying to test your child, unless you're in teaching mode where you're actually testing that ability, like what's his name for the brother, right? Or what's this, as you're holding up an apple or phone or something they know. Those are questions that you know the answers to. And if you know the answer to the question, you should say the answer to the question. This is an apple. This is a phone. I like this yellow banana. Ooh, it's my favorite fruit to eat. I adore yellow bananas. Instead of saying, do you like yellow bananas? Your child will reach, or you'll say whatever. Oh, you want a banana? Would you like one? They'll reach it. You say, no, you don't want one. Okay, no, thank you. You don't want a banana. I'll put it back, or I'll eat the banana, right? Talk about how you interact with things and question things yourself, because you don't say, what is this color? You say, ooh, it's yellow. I like yellow. That's the answer to the question that you're like, look at this yellow banana. What color is it? Right? That you have teach, test, reward. And with language facilitation, it's much easier for the kids to pick up the language if you use it right there while you are holding an object or doing something visual yourself. Look at me, I'm combing my hair. I'm dancing. Look at me, I'm dancing. I am cooking dinner and we are having chicken curry. You talk about what you are doing, and that teaches your child the language to talk about what he is doing when other people ask him a question, right? Because if somebody walks in the kitchen and says, what's for dinner? They're going to know it's chicken curry, right? They'll know the answer to the question. They'll say, you are cooking chicken curry. That's the ultimate response that you want from your child in spoken language sentences. Now, at first, if your child is a new talker, they're not going to come out with sentences right away, even if they're over 5 or 6 years old. They're going to come out with single words to try it, and they're going to use it to test you or encourage you to give them more of that language. So, for example, your child walks in the kitchen. Oh, hi, you must be hungry. You probably smelled this beautiful chicken curry I'm cooking. Do you want to come smell it? Come try it out. And, that's a little question, do you wanna? But, come smell it. Come see what it is. You can have a taste. Tell your child what they can have, because they're like, can I taste it? Can I smell it? Is it for me? Am I going to want some of that? Does it smell good enough to eat? Like, that's what they're thinking in their head. And so you want to say, it smells delicious. It's yummy. Come try it so you can decide that you really want to dig in when we sit down for dinner. Okay? Because most parents don't give their kids all of that language. They just say it's dinner time here. They don't even tell them what we're feeding them. And if your kid is one of those that you have to put a phone in front of them to put the chicken curry in their mouth, then they don't even know they're eating chicken curry until it's after it's in their mouth. And that's a problem. That's a problem. For language facilitation, your child's never going to learn about it if you are using a phone to take that time instead. And I have done videos on my page, on my YouTube channel, about eating, about how to get your child to eat the food you want to eat. I've done potty training videos, and I don't think I've done a bedtime, but I have done an escaping video, right? So if you have those problems specifically, I've got specific strategies in videos to tell you about those big 3 in specifics, but it's not so much. Remember, these are things that your kiddo knows how to do. They are choosing to revert or do it in a wrong way or a bad way to manipulate you to get more of something they're feeling like has been taken away from them, to control you somehow. And so you got to figure all that out, and that way you're not going to understand. So she says, I ask him, because when I do ask him questions, I can see him trying really hard to understand what I'm asking him. Right. The problem is he doesn't know how to answer those questions. He needs training in how to answer them. And the reason he hesitates is because he doesn't know. He needs you to give him those language models. So you can do this. You can do this, especially with these older kids. Storytelling, storytelling, storytelling. Talk about the stories of your life, not just storybooks. Storytelling about why you're cooking, what you're cooking, why you chose to cook what you're cooking, okay? And that's just one thing in your life. Why you chose to wear what you're wearing, why you chose to drive what you're driving, why you chose to go the places you're going. This is very, very important so that your child sees examples of how the speech looks. You can't pull it out unless it's trained. Right? Everyone else is pulling it out. Your job as a language facilitator is to put it in. And she says, you're a godsend. Thanks so much. Thank you for your question and this little exchange, because I think this is a real true thing for a lot of parents, these WH questions. It's very easy because when you see a therapist, all they do is ask questions, ask questions. They are in the job of pulling language out. But you are in the job. This 2 to 3 hours every single day of listening to you is all it needs. 2 to 3 hours every day of you talking to your child with language they can understand about things that they are interested in, and then they will learn to talk. And that's how all of this works. So thank you so much for joining me, everybody, on this video. I'm trying to keep these a little bit short because I know parents pop in and out. Thank you so much for your questions. If you're watching on the replay and you have a question, you're welcome to post it in this comments section. Share this video, like it, hit the thumbs up button, please. Because I'm not running ads, I don't know how the algorithm's going to get going out there. And I know that you guys sharing my videos and coming back to watch every week really helps the channel grow. Again, visit me on MeWe. I'm going to show it one more time so that you can see the resource really quick. Parents are the best language facilitators group on the MeWe network. I look forward to seeing you over there because we're going to do interactive discussion. I've got tips every day over there, new things for you to try. So you could have it as your little everyday pick me up, language facilitation, pick me up in between YouTube videos. I hope to see you over on MeWe. And I promise I've got my book. It's available too on Amazon. If it isn't fun, it isn't fun. 2021 is all about resources, looking at strategies you can use to teach your child, and equipping and empowering yourself to be your child's best language facilitator. All the best, and I'll say bye for now, and I'll see you all on my next video. Bye for now.